Welcome to the Finance Marketing Podcast, a show that empowers finance professionals to market their businesses in ways that feel good and actually achieve results. I'm your host, Hillary. I've been working with folks in financial services to develop marketing strategies that work and create results-oriented marketing content since 2020. And I've learned a lot about what works in finance marketing, what doesn't work, and where financial services pros get stuck. Join us each Friday as we explore real, effective ways to market your finance business and connect with folks who truly embody your ideal clients. This week, I am bringing you part one of a two-part episode with Jon Randall, founder of XFA, a premier coaching and consulting firm for financial advisors who want to boost their growth and profitability. With over 25 years of experience, Jon has worked with top-tier advisors, including Barron's Top 100 and Hall of Fame advisors, and his team helps advisors streamline their practice for 10 times growth and beyond. So in today's conversation, Jon reveals why most financial advisors struggle to grow despite being excellent at what they do. And it's not what you might think. We're diving deep into the capacity constraints that are actually holding advisors back and why being too busy with the wrong clients prevents you from attracting the right ones. Jon shares his systematic approach to identifying your true ideal clients and introduces his IPO method, which is a natural, comfortable way to generate consistent referrals without awkward conversations or pushy tactics. And what I will say is that this conversation with Jon was so good that we actually decided to record a second conversation just totally spontaneously right after this one, which is why this is a two-part episode. He just had so many great thoughts and insights to share that I thought you would deserve to hear from him twice. He was just that good. So if you've been hoping that referrals will just happen naturally, or if you feel stuck serving clients who don't fit your ideal profile, this episode will completely shift how you think about growth. Jon's insights are backed by real data showing that the fastest growing advisors get 73% of their new clients from existing client referrals, and he is going to show you exactly how to tap into that same success. So again, this is part one of our two-part conversation. So make sure to tune in next week as well for part two, where Jon shares an advanced technique that can jumpstart referrals in stagnant practices. Without further ado, let's dive in. Jon, thank you so much for joining me for this episode of the Finance Marketing Podcast. How are you today?
Doing awesome. It's so great to be in your podcast, Hillary. I'm a fan of it. This is one of my favorite topics, marketing the financial advisor business.
One of mine too, absolutely. I would love if you could just give us a brief little overview of who you are, Jon, what your company does, maybe how you got into this business.
Sure. Yeah. I'm the founder of Extraordinary Financial Advisors, XFA for short. XFA.coach is our website. And I was an advisor, just like many listening. I started back in 1999 and I stumbled into helping other advisors in 2004 when my wife and I decided to move to North Carolina. All these advisors asked me, hey, well, what do the big producers do where you were? Would you show me? I grew really quickly acquiring clients. People said, but how do you acquire clients? Would you show me? And it turned into this huge business, way bigger in my practice. So I've actually sold the last bit of my practice in 2017. So I'm all in with our team of coaches, helping advisors all over the country. We really help them with enhance their growth and profitability. We got a step-by-step process we take them through to help them grow to the next level, which we've seen a lot of people grow fast. We're going to talk a little bit about that today.
That's awesome. Well, what would you say are the biggest inhibitors for advisors who are looking to grow? Why aren't they growing as fast as they want to grow?
So there's constraints holding practices back. And I enjoy a lot of our industry research. One of my favorites is Investment News puts out a research study every year based on independent financial advisors. And the thing they say every year that they've been saying is that financial advisor businesses are clogged up. They have too many clients. So capacity is the number one constraint we see in practices. Ironically, McKinsey just came out in a study just a couple months before the recording of this podcast that said by 2034, there will be a 100,000 advisor shortage in our industry. So this industry is booming, but it's a supply and demand issue, right? There's just not enough advisors. So practices are full and they want to grow, but they're just clogged up. And a lot of times they're clogged up with the wrong clients, just clients maybe that got them here they started with that probably aren't the clients they need to go with going forward. So that's actually one of the biggest preventers of growth. And it actually prevents them from getting new clients. They're not doing a good job for existing clients. It's really hard to bring in new people.
I can see how that just becomes kind of like a tangled mess that's really hard to get out of.
Yeah.
So, what do you do to help advisors start looking at that tangle and start untangling?
Yeah. So when anyone comes to us that says, I want to acquire more clients, or I want the advisors on my team to acquire more clients, we know, okay, that's not the issue. You have other issues that probably are in delivery, what you're doing with clients, which we call client optimization, but there's root causes to that, like capacity. How many clients is the owner working with? There's only so much time in a working week, and it's usually that's the constraint right there. So how many clients are they working with? What's the owner's capacity? Then leveraging advisors on their team capacity properly. A lot of owners are not leveraging their team's capacity properly. So you've got to overcome those constraints. We've got to be able to change what we're doing with clients. So really segmentation, it's an old thing that's been slung around, but doing it differently. How can we do more for a small number of clients you want to duplicate? And then how can we be more efficient with the masses, or maybe stop working with some of the smaller clients that don't produce much revenue? So there's a lot of things there. And then there's so many profitability opportunities with these existing clients to grow really quickly. So some people think, oh, I just need to get new people to grow. Well, you can grow with what you have. So in any business, it's not just getting new customers, but you could do more with existing customers, right? If you're a restaurant and we only serve entrees, what if we add appetizers and desserts, or maybe bottles of wine, right? There's more business could be done per customer. So you can grow that way, but advisors that do more with clients and enhance the experience, guess what happens? They start getting referrals. And so the Oxley Institute did a study on not just the advisor averages, but what are the fastest growing advisors in the industry. And they revealed that these advisors, this is where they're acquiring clients. 73% are coming from existing client referrals. It's a big number. 24% are coming from referrals from another professional, especially like a CPA. And only 3% are all other methods combined.
Wow.
So that's why I know if someone isn't getting a constant stream of new referrals, something's going on with what they're doing with clients. It's pretty eye-opening, but that kind of research has helped us identify the constraints that are actually holding the practice back. And if they want to grow, they're working on the wrong things. We have to fix some things, and then they explode. Then they have massive growth, which is really, really fun to see.
Right. Well, I know a lot of advisors, they do see the opportunities that come from referrals, but it seems like something that's out of their control. It seems like something that is in the client's control, and they can't really pull any levers. But I know, and that's not the case. So what are some levers that they can pull in order to, one, maybe get those referrals coming in more consistently, and two, make sure that those referrals are actually qualified referrals?
Yes, this is awesome. This is exactly my favorite thing to talk about. So we're going to talk about exactly what advisors do and a couple techniques to do here. So this is target marketing. All right, we're in the professional service business. The number one way professional services get clients is from referrals. So how can you influence it heavily? So you've got to look at who are the clients in your book that you would like to duplicate. Who are the ideal clients? So you've got to look at it just, what's your revenue point? What's your profit point with these people? Maybe ease of working with them. So one of my favorite advisors that grew extremely fast working with us, more than 10x in about 7 years, he realized that he had some clients that had about, 1.5 million with them and produced, these over 10,000 in revenue. And he said, these clients are so easy. They're like easy to work with. I can really help them. They really value the help, and they don't really want a lot from me. He said, if I had like hundreds of these clients, like I would have it made. So it's really for you. It's like, what's your ideal client? It might be the client that produces, multiple 5 figures or 6 figures in revenue, or maybe it's a client like that. It's just easy for you to serve. So it's looking at it who's ideal, but then it's also looking at, well, what's your access points? So if you wanted to work with some, I'm making this up, some specialized surgeons in New York City that made millions of dollars, if you're not working with any of those people, you don't have access to them, it's going to be really, really hard to get in with them, right? But if you're already working with somebody who you help and they're an ideal client and there's others just like them, that's the targeting we need to do. That's the path we need to go down, is how can we do more with this person? How can we do more business with them? How can we enhance their experience, talk to them more, do all the things that make clients feel great about working with the financial advisor so that we can access other people. So to get more referrals, number one, we have to be more referable. So clients really value frequency of contact. So talking to them more, giving advice and recommendations in all those interactions, not just checking on them saying, hey, I hope you're having a nice day, Hillary. It's, I was examining things and found an opportunity do you have 2 minutes to discuss it? I mean, really just going through and giving more value constantly to these people so they feel great. So that's how to influence it. That's kind of step one. And if that's not there, it's going to be really hard to get referrals. So that's why segmentation is key. And I think of segmentation, who are the really, really small number of clients that you want to duplicate in your book, because they're the quickest path to the next new client, just like them. And so that'll help you bring in clients, more the ideal clients, hopefully the top of your book, profitable, not just like average clients in your book.
Right. Well, what I really, really love about what you're saying is you don't need to be doing this with every single client. You don't need to be going above and beyond, over delivering for every single client. Because to me, that sounds like the quickest path to burnout. And you're just gonna, that's not a good way. So if you can identify even one person, ideally, what would you say? Maybe if you had 5 of these, would that be
It's great.
perfect?
That's great. And it could be 1 in a practice, could be 3, could be 10. But yeah, it's a super small number. It does not have to be everyone. And so we know you're busy advisors, right? I mean, that's the research says you're busy. You don't have to do this with everyone. It's just picking out a small, very, very small number of people. You literally start with 1 that you want to duplicate, and it's doing more with them. And that is like the foundation for getting more referrals from those people. So once you know, who do I want to duplicate, who has access to others like them, we go in, we enhance their experience as much as possible. We give them as many services, as many products as you got. You give them everything. You just constantly talk to them and give them, more than you think you should. And that's what really unlocks ability. Once you're referable, now there is a couple of techniques where you can go a little bit deeper to access some more of these people. So I'll give you a couple of examples in just how to get started with this, what results can happen, and how this can lead to bringing in 9 figures in new assets annually. We just held an event about 6-7 weeks ago we work with many hundreds of practices, but we had like our top 100 advisors. We had it at a workshop, and we learned from a Barron's top 10 advisor. We had multiple Barron's top 100 advisors there. And we featured 4 advisors that are all organically attracting over 100 million a year, 2 of them over 250 million a year in new assets. And it really is this stuff. It really broke down. All of them said the same thing, that we get unsolicited referrals from these targeted groups. The ones that were doing 250 million and more in new organic assets, all from referrals, new assets coming in from referrals, they were more focused in niches. That was the only difference from not bringing in less than 10 million. You get a more focus, easy to bring in over 10 million a year. You get really focused, easy to get in 100 million a year. And when you get like really targeted, very specialized, I mean, one of them literally has a waiting list for new clients because her practice can't accept them all. She can't take them all. They're just constantly coming in because she does such a great job with clients. Everyone's talking about it in this niche, in this bubble, and she's become known. So it's a difference in being a small fish in the giant ocean of financial advisors, or being like the big fish in the small pond. So we'll talk about a couple of the techniques, but that's just something to think about. And I think, Hillary, I mean, it's just easier to be the big fish in small pond. It's easier to get known, right?
Right. I mean, across industries, and I think absolutely for financial advisors. I really love this notion, and I want to hear about these techniques, but I really love this notion of not just picking a niche that you think you want to work with, but really letting your niche kind of reveal itself to you in a practice that you've already built in its infancy or its adolescence, and now it's time to grow. Because I think that that is a much more effective way of niching down than just saying, well, I think doctors have money. I would love to work with more doctors.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's access. It's hard to break into something you don't have. I'm telling you, the fastest path to new client is through existing clients. It really is. So advisors will say, well, I don't have a niche. Was there one client you really like working with? And there's other people in the world just like them. Like that's a start. That's how this starts. It's literally with one person. And this person, Trevor, I talked about, we helped him realize this, that who do you like working with? He said, oh my gosh, I got this few clients and they're really easy. And they're like kind of my ideal people. It's like, great. Are there more people like them? Oh my gosh, there's tons of people like them. They work at this company and everyone in this company is like 7 figures to roll over. And great. Okay. So like, how do we get these people? It turns out one person referred the other two. Oh my gosh, that's a niche there. So, we can build something probably around that one person that got us to the other two. So what Trevor did, and Trevor was small. Trevor was only like 250,000 in revenue. And we work at big practices doing over 100 million revenue. So he was really, really small and he just really wanted to grow. And so he did all the client optimization things. He doubled in about a year doing more business with clients. But when he turned to, how can I get new people in, new ideal clients in, it really was through this small group of people. But here's the difference in letting them guide you, which is the technique, versus you making it up financial advisors. So Trevor identified he had a niche and he was so excited. He's like, oh my gosh, I have it. And we said, what the coaches talked to him, what are you going to do about it? How are we going to go deeper? So Trevor just between sessions, he came up with all these things he's going to do. He said, I'm going to do like seminars and steak dinners and all this stuff. It's going to be amazing. And so we asked him, well, what do these people think of this? What do the clients think of this? And he said, well, I don't know. And we helped him understand, like, don't you think they should know? Don't you think they should be part of this? So when a client refers you, like they get it, right? They're already an advocate. Like they get it. So you don't have to have some awkward, referral conversation with them. They get it. They obviously wanted to help other people just like them. So Trevor went to the one that referred the others and presented this elaborate plan that he had of like, we're going to do all this awesome stuff. It's going to be amazing. And the person stopped him and said, listen, none of that's going to work. Here's what you do. On Thursdays after work, we go across the street to the barbecue place. We all have a beer. If you show up on Thursdays, I'll introduce you to everyone.
Wow.
I was like, okay. So he's very skeptical, like this seems really weird and sketchy. And so he showed up. He only went 6 times and he had to stop going because he brought in about 50 million in new assets in like 6 weeks. Like it overwhelmed his business. And that's the difference. What I see advisors are like, I'm going to invent something and do it. Or I heard someone does this kind of event, or I'm going to put this on. It's not the same as when they guide you. So the key is we need to listen to those people. And we need to uncover from them, what do they suggest we do? Now, that's a jackpot kind of situation where they have their people and they're like, just show up and, you'll get a ton of clients.
Right.
I mean, that's a jackpot situation. That doesn't always happen. So a couple of techniques that can get you to that point. One of them is just how to bring up, referrals. There's all these weird techniques, right? And they're all like, some are comfortable, some are uncomfortable. We've developed the most seamless, most effective process ever. And I'm going to give it away on your podcast, Hilary, because you're so amazing. It's the IPO process. And so I'll take you to the IPO is. So I is improve. So what you do is you ask these ideal clients that I want to be the best at what I do. Is there anything I can do better? And what are they going to say 99% of the times? Oh my gosh, you're great. Right now, if they give you something, you stop right there and you take the suggestion and you work on it. But most of the time, they're going to say, "Oh my gosh, you're so great. We're so thankful for you." Something like that. They just recognized value. Anytime value is recognized, now we're even more referable. So the P in IPO is praise. So what you do is you let them know that, Hilary, you're one of my favorite clients. You're the type of person we help best, and here's why. It could be you work at XYZ company, you own a car dealership, whatever it is about your target, you name things about them, and then you name things that they could see in other people. You're always open to advice. You implement things. You're always trying to get better. Like that's the kind of person that we help best. So you can't say, we like people that have over $1 million that are willing to pay us, these fees, right?
Right.
They're not going to see that in other people. So it's just as smooth letting them know you specialize in people just like you. You're the type of person we help best. And here's the reasons why you're kind of our ideal person. So Hillary's going to be feeling pretty flattered, like, hey, I felt pretty good about this. Now, I'll give this example with Trevor. This is a long time ago. Trevor he did an IPA approach, and he went right for an ask. Like, who do you know that's just like you? Is very, a little bit aggressive. It's just his natural style. But people don't have anyone on the spot, right? So we helped them with, it needs to be IPO. You just offer. If there's anyone else just like you, always make time for them. Or another approach, because the essence of referrals is helping others. Another easy thing to say is just, if you want to help somebody else together, I always make time for them. So all you can really do is turn people's radar on and antenna up. So when they go off in the world, they're, thinking about that. That's all you can really do in referrals. And I tell you what, Trevor exploded. He went from, literally, I'm not making this up, he went from 250,000 to 2.8 million in 7 years, 100% organic growth. He did not have any practice acquisitions or anything.
Wow.
And he sold the whole business for about 10 million. So, I mean, from like struggling to like, I don't know if I'm going to make it in this business, to like, I sold my business for, over 10 million. And now I'm buying apartment complexes with it. Completely life-changing. And that's the difference though. It's targeting, it's listening to them, and it's helping them know that you specialize in them. Trevor would even use those words, that we specialize in people just like you. And so you look at some of the people I referenced, some of the stars at this conference, they started at zero. They're not superhumans. They're just regular people. They started at zero, but you look at just all of them were like, this just happened. I just got better at what we were doing with clients, overcame some of the constraints, and just all of a sudden it just started to get more. Like we got 10 million, 20 million, it became 50 million. All of a sudden it became 100 million coming in. The ones that were at like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we're bringing in 100 million. Then it just became like 250 million. So wow. It really can build. And usually if you're doing this, if you're targeting some of the better people, like, they're going to be better clients that start coming in. So this makes it easier to let go of, a whole lot of small clients when you bring in bigger ones. And then you just get even better. The more clients in your target you work with, delivery is a lot easier. It's all the same, right? You figure out something with one client, you can duplicate it with other people. So that's where the quality increases and like referrals pick up even more. And I'm telling you, these people do nothing for marketing. There's no like cool videos going out. They do nothing. They're just awesome at client optimization. They're targeted about who they're working with. And I mean, some people that are trying to grow will have like an IPO conversation or try some technique to try and access, the people in this target. But most of them just do a great job for these people. And it just happens. It happens. But that's the root of it. It's the root of it. It all goes back to client optimization.
Now we're going to take a teeny tiny break to hear from our sponsors. Oh, hey, I am a sponsor of my own podcast, and the thing that I am sponsoring just happens to be free. It's my 7-day email list growth sprint designed for advisors who are tired of posting into the void and want to actually grow their email lists with qualified leads so that you can make your email list your next best source of new clients. 7 days, 10 minutes per day, super actionable tactics that work. How do I know they work? Because they're the tactics I use to grow my own email list. And they're exactly what I did to grow my email list by over 50 subscribers organically in just 30 days. Plus, you'll get exclusive access to my custom GPT lead magnet lab that generates compliance-aware lead magnet ideas specifically for financial professionals so that you can take your email list growth strategies to the next level. There is literally nothing else like it in our industry. So if you're ready to stop hoping that people will find you and start actively building your community, join the sprint at monetacoffee.com/email sprint or find the link in the show notes. If you're a financial advisor, coach, or CPA, you have something a lot of financial content creators don't: real expertise and authority that comes from actually helping people with their money every single day. You know what works, what doesn't, and what people really struggle with. And that is incredibly valuable content waiting to happen. The challenge, of course, is turning that expertise into content that is engaging and attracts your ideal clients. That's exactly what FinCon is for. You'll learn from other advisors, coaches, and professional content creators who have successfully built highly engaged audiences and grown their practices through content. You'll discover which platforms actually work for financial professionals, how to create content that builds trust instead of just getting likes, and most importantly, how to turn that content into real client relationships. The best part is that you're not starting from scratch. You already have the knowledge, credibility, and authority. You just need to learn how to package and share it. FinCon 2025 is September 10th through 12th in Portland. If you're ready to stop watching other people build audiences with your expertise and start building your own, visit finconexpo.com and use the code Moneta25 to get $25 off a creator pass. Can't wait to see you. Thanks for listening. Let's get back to it. I think that is genius, Jon. And thank you for sharing that process with me and with the audience. So when this starts to happen, I want to know the order of operations. When you're coaching someone, do they need to start letting go of their non-optimal clients first in order to make more time to take this approach with their clients? Or is this something they implement and then they start to let go of those non-optimal clients over time?
This is like the chicken and the egg conversation, right? Because advisors are so scared to let go of any revenue.
Yeah.
It's, gosh, I can't let go of that. It helps pay for my office or helps pay for my, assistant, whatever it might be. It's our thinking. And the other thinking too we have is like, well, something might happen with this client one day, right? One time at a client Inherit Money, they were small, then they became big. So this 1 out of 300 instance, I'm going to keep all these small clients. So I'm finishing my PhD in psychology. The way our brain works is like, it always goes back, it craves equilibrium. So we're always going to go back to like the way we were doing things. And so we're not going to let go of these people. We're going to invent reasons why we should keep them. But unless a client has like in the very near short term, like I'm talking the next few years, if they have a nice rollover coming the next few years because they're going to retire, awesome. I'm a big fan of keeping them, treating them like they already have that rollover with you. Waiting for somebody who's younger to inherit money in 30, 40 years, you're losing money. You don't have time to wait for that to happen. So I would help people realize how much money they're losing. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes I could get people to shift that, hey, we can go like light some money and fire in the parking lots of way better time savings way to lose money, or we could make the shift. But it certainly is nice if you get a new client in and you don't have to lose that revenue, right? So that you never go backwards. So there's some techniques we help with. And we have this growth guide that we'll do for free. And we'll do for any of your listeners, Hillary, that kind of helps with like the order of operations of like, okay, you're here. These would be the steps to take to do this. So you don't go backwards. We don't want anyone to go backwards or feel pain, but it's nice to know, okay, I have this new revenue coming in that can replace a lot of my, bottom revenue. On average, we see typically the bottom half of clients only produces about 3% of revenue. Wow. So a lot of times you get like one or two, good clients coming in, like bam, you could get rid of a lot of headaches right there.
Absolutely. I do imagine, having been through some similar stuff in my own business, I imagine there's some mindset blocks that you as coaches really have to help people work through.
Big time. Yeah. And they're so common. Everyone's the same. Everyone goes through the same thing. So we see it hundreds of times. And there's techniques, there's step-by-step techniques of how to overcome all these things to get out of our own way. Mm-hmm. So you can get to a point that you're, really growing and doubling, tripling, 10xing your practice. It really can be done. This financial advisor industry is just incredible. It is one of the best industries. There's so much demand for it. There's so many more and more Americans every day that have more than 1 million to roll over to. It's incredible. But we've got to get our house in order. We've got to manage capacity. We got to be really good at what we do with clients to get those new clients. It's really, even goes before just cutting these people. It's just knowing, what is going to be the path. How am I going to think about this stuff? And a lot of times it's just thinking differently is all that it is. So people we work with that go from $1 million to 10 million, we just help them think differently. We've helped people go from 10 million to 100 million. They're just thinking differently is all that it is. And when we know like what it's going to take to get there, so we help people with, okay, this got you here, but this thinking and doing these things differently, that's what's going to help you shortcut to the next 10x and go into the next level.
Well, this has all been really insightful, Jon. Is there anything, as we start to kind of wrap up, is there anything that we haven't touched on yet that you think would be pertinent to this conversation?
These are the big ones. I mean, I mentioned before this, I could talk for 100 hours about this stuff. There's so much. We're just like kind of scratching the surface, but of everything I've seen work for advisors, doing this for, over 20 years, we've been helping advisors grow, and the targeting and being selective about who you try and duplicate using a simple IPO approach. It doesn't feel like a referral conversation. It's just letting people know you specialize in them and you're available to help others just like them. It's the most effective thing. There's some side techniques, we could do, down the road if I want to do another podcast getting into this stuff that could go a little bit deeper to facilitate things. But this is the core essence. This is it right here. And the advisors that do this stuff, they grow like crazy. And the advisors that, do a bunch of other stuff, I just look at the industry stats. This is where new clients are coming from, and it accelerates growth.
I believe it. Absolutely. Well, if people want to get in touch with you or learn more about how you help advisors, Jon, where are the best places to do that?
Well, we create a special landing page just for your listeners. And we're willing to give away the growth guide I mentioned for free. It's something we do for our clients. We'll give it to your listeners for free. So xfa.coach is our website. But if you go to xfa.coach/FMP, abbreviation of Finance Marketing Podcast, coach/FMP, you'll see on there, you can get your free growth guide. If you want to schedule some with our team, you can, but just get a free growth guide. I recommend it for everyone. It's going to benchmark your practice where you're at. It's going to point out what you could be doing with clients. It's going to give you the constraints that's holding you back and kind of that step-by-step process to grow and double, triple, 10x your practice as far as you want to take it.
That's fantastic. Well, I will certainly link to that in the show notes. And thank you so much, Jon, for coming and sharing so much value with us. This has been such a great conversation.
This is fun. One of my favorite topics. And I love your podcast. Thanks so much for having me on.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Finance Marketing Podcast. If you're eager to market your business in a way that feels good and actually gets results, sign up for the Finance Marketing Podcast newsletter in the show notes so you never miss another episode. If you liked what you heard today, please be sure to subscribe to the show on your favorite listening app and leave a review on Apple Podcasts. We'll see you back here next Friday.